value of 9.4 mg per dl. It seldom rises or falls. Okay. So calcium value is 9.4 mg per dl, which is equivalent to 2.4 calciums per millimeter. 2.4 millimole of calcium per liter. 9.4 mg per dl. 9.4 mg per dl. Okay. Contraction of skeletal muscles, contraction of cardiac muscles, contraction of smooth muscles, hemostasis, blood clotting. Okay. Calcium is required as a factor. It's factor 4. Transmission of nerve impulses, fine. Calcium channel say come in correct. Access secondary messenger, yeah, secondary messenger also. I think NCRT may be something correct. And cellular function. There are other factors of calcium that is excitable sensitive neurons are sensitive to changes in calcium ion concentrations and are above hyperglycemia. Hypercalcemia causes progressive depression of the nervous system. Conversely, decrease causes the nervous system to become more excited. Okay. Wait, what? Hypercalcemia causes a depression of the nervous system. Decreases in the calcium. Hypocalcemia causes the nervous system to become more excited. Okay. Yellow highlighted. Yeah. Causes the calcium ion channels to be more excited. Okay. And one feature of extracellular calcium regulation is that only 0.1% of the total body fluid calcium is in ECF and 1% is in the cells and organelles, and the rest being 99 stored in the bones. 0.1% in the cells and organelles, 99% stored in bones, which can serve as large reservoirs accessing excess calcium and reason. Central nervous system function, synaptic transmissions. Development of the teeth, cardiac muscle contraction function, skeletal muscle contraction, and neuromuscular transmission, gastrointestinal and other smooth muscle contraction, nerve excitability transmission, nerve excitability and transmission, development and maintenance of bone density, nerve excitability and transmission, development and maintenance and development of bone density, hemostasis, calcium acts as the secondary messenger in most tissues of the body. Right. We finished in literally just under 4 minutes. I took longer to start, but under 4 minutes. So we can keep up this speed today. I'm in full charge. Let's go. Payroll is also easy, but we'll try under 7 minutes, under 8 minutes. So कर सकते हैं यार. Calcium in the plasma and interstitial fluid. Calcium in the plasma is present in 3 forms as shown in figure 90.2. About 41% of calcium is combined with the plasma proteins, and in this form is non-diffusible through the capillary membrane. 41% is combined with plasma proteins. Okay. Okay, after this page, I'll get some food and water because I should not be deprived of food. I'll get it after this page. About 41% is calcium with plasma proteins, and in this form it is non-diffusible through the capillary. Okay. About 9% of calcium is diffusible, however it is combined with inorganic substances such as citrates and phosphates. So calcium phosphate or calcium citrate के साथ 9% है, and it is diffusible in 9% as citrates and phosphates in such a manner that it is not ionized. So okay, so calcium citrate, calcium phosphate is about 9%, and that उससे diffuse हो सकता है, but calcium bound with plasma proteins is non-diffusible, right? Now the remaining 50% of calcium plasma is both diffusible through the capillary membrane and ionized. Both diffusion of capillary membrane on and correct. So calcium is that form that is important for most functions of calcium in the body, including the effect of calcium on the heart, nervous system, and bone formation. Inorganic phosphate in the ECF. Approximately 85% of body's phosphate is stored in bones. 85% of body's phosphate is stored in the bones. 14 to 15 is excess in the cells, and less than 1% is extracellular fluid. So 85% is phosphate is stored in the bones. 14 to 15% is in the cells, and less than 1% is in extracellular fluid. 85% is in bones. 14 to 15% is in The cell and less than 1% is in the ECF. Although extracellular fluid phosphate concentration is not nearly as well regulated as calcium, phosphate serves important functions control many factors that regulate calcium. Inorganic phosphate is mainly in two forms, HPO4 minus and H2PO4 minus. Okay, so phosphoric acid, say if you remove one hydrogen, so H2PO4 1 minus, and you remove two hydrogen, HPO4 still 1 minus, 2 minus, correct. The concentration of HPO4 2 minus is about this, and okay, and the total quantity of phosphate in ECF rises. So does the quantity of each of these two types of phosphate ions. Furthermore, when the pH of the ECF becomes more acidic, there is a relative increase in the H2PO4 minus. So ECF में phosphate बढ़ा तो ये दोनों भी बढ़े, और जब pH becomes more acidic, there is a relative increase in H2PO4 minus and a decrease in HPO4 1 minus. So if pH is more acidic, there is a higher increase uh, in HPO4 2 minus and decrease in the H2PO4 1 minus. Okay, decrease in, नहीं उल्टा बोला, increase in H2PO4 1 minus and increase in the HPO4 2 minus. Okay, acidic मतलब H2PO4 1 minus more, HPO4 2 minus less. HPO4 2 minus less. Whereas the opposite occurs when the ECF becomes alkaline. Okay, opposite occurs when the ECF becomes alkaline. So उधर HPO4 2 minus बढ़ेगा और HPO4 1 minus घटेगा. नहीं, H2PO4 घटेगा, ठीक है. So acidic, just one conclusion, acidic में H2PO4 minus increases. Acidic में H2PO4 minus increases. ठीक है. Because it is difficult to determine chemically the exact quantities of HPO4 minus and H2PO4 minus in blood. Ordinarily, the total quantity of phosphate expended in terms of milligrams of phosphorus per deciliter of blood. The average total quantity of inorganic phosphate represented by both phosphate ions is about 4 mg per dl, varying between 3 to 4 limits in adults and 4 to 5 in children. So 3 to 4 mg per dl for phosphate in adults and 4 to 5 mg per dl in children. 3 to 4 mg per dl in adults and 4 to 5 mg per dl in children. Recommended dietary allowances for calcium in different age groups. अबे ठीक है, इतना नहीं पढ़ना है, इतना टेबल आई डोंट नीड टू लर्न, not important. Basically, we can see when calcium is required more. For a lactating female, obviously more required than normal conditions, correct. Usually for age 19 to 30, it's 1000. So usually we can remember around 1000 milligram of calcium per day is required. Pregnancy में that value can reach 1300. Okay. Now, outline of calcium metabolism. Daily calcium requirements are usually, the usual rates of intake are approximately 1000 mg per day, each for calcium and phosphorus, about 1 liters of milk. About the amounts in 1 liters of milk. Oh. The liver and calcium answer calcium are poorly absorbed from the intestine. Okay, so calcium is poorly absorbed from the intestine. Calcium is poorly absorbed from the intestine. Yellow highlighter. Poorly absorbed. Daily interorgan calcium flux. The daily interorgan calcium flux is shown in the diagram. Calcium intake being approximately 1000 mg per day. About 90% of the daily intake is excreted in the feces. Oh. So 1000 mg per day means 900 mg per day. That is 90% is excreted in the feces. The daily interorgan calcium fluxes between ECF, bone cells, and intestine are clearly shown in figure. Overall calcium exchange between different tissue compartments and a person ingestion. Kidneys have the capacity to expand. So reducing the tubular reabsorption. So, feces 900 mg per day. Absorption is 350 mg per day. ECF cells is 13,000 mg per day. Cells have 13,000 mg. secretion हो रहा है 250 mg/ml. So deposition in the bone. Bones have 10 lakh mg per mg. Wow, that is crazy. 10 lakh mg is in the bones. ठीक. So very proud today. 10 of you all have joined, and I think the most amount in the morning for sure. Let's go. Let's keep going every day. Hopefully, we can all be there for each other. Again, done in 7 minutes. Next page. Let's go. Keep going faster. I'll just get water and food. Please, please drink water. Please keep food ready. Eat something. Make sure you give some glucose to your brain. You need to sustain also. And if you're getting up early, make sure you are having good two water bottles next to you. Keep drinking. I will also keep drinking. Every time I drink, then you also should drink. Because usually we forget in the flow of starting. I also usually forget. I have to force myself. Pani pee. Like, and have like nutritious food in the morning, preferably fruits if you can. So I'll just get fruits. Till then, you'll also eat if you haven't eaten, and get water also. Okay. Chalo. Let's go. Start. Intestinal absorption of calcium. Vitamin D promotes calcium absorption by the intestines. So intestinal absorption of the calciums. Calcium कैसे absorb होता है? Vitamin D promotes the calcium absorption by the intestines by 35%. Vitamin D promotes the calcium absorption by about 30% from the intestines. So vitamin D is responsible for calcium D to get absorbed. Okay, vitamin D is required for calcium to get absorbed, correct, from the intestines. Okay, intestine, vitamin D will help calcium to be absorbed. Fine. The and 35% of ingested calcium is absorbed by vitamin D. The calcium remaining in the intestine is excreted as feces. An additional 250 mg per day of calcium enters the intestine via the GIT juices, gastrointestinal juices, and sloughed mucus cells. Gastrointestinal juices and that happens sometimes. Sloughed mucus cells. Intestinal absorption. But this is this camera feature, yeah. It comes on top usually. It's such a cool feature. You can like put a lot of like effects and all. I don't know that I haven't been able to do that yet. It sometimes it comes, sometimes it doesn't. But once it comes, it'll be very cool. I will show you all. Intestinal absorption of phosphate occurs easily. Absorption of phosphate occurs easily, except for the portion of phosphate that is excreted in the feces in combination with non-absorbed calcium. Almost all dietary phosphates are absorbed in the blood from the gut and later excreted into urine. So the phosphate is easy. Absorption phosphate का बहुत easy है. Uh, except for the portion that is excreted in the feces in combination with non-absorbed calcium. Rest all dietary phosphate is absorbed into the blood from the gut and later excreted in the urine. Like okay, तो ब्लड में जाता है, गट से आता है और फाइनली यूरिन में जाता है. ठीक है. Renal excretion of calcium. Approximately 10% of ingested calcium is excreted in the urine. 100 mg per day. 100 mg per day. 10% of calcium. How do you revise daily? What's your time to revise? There's no time. No, you plan your schedule well. Put everything that you have to do in your schedule, and automatically हो जाएगा एक system. It's the simplest answer is planning. Most important is making a plan, proper detailed plan, proper timetable. I'll put out a video on timetable, Lord. At least 10 people have asked for a timetable video. So I'll make pakka. We have to like I had a very fixed timetable plan. Like now also I want to include it. I'm not so efficient anymore because अभी इतना need जैसा you don't have to go all in at once. You have to go थोड़ा थोड़ा over a long period of time. You have to sustain. But still I still make basic timetable is really important. So I'll make a video on how to plan, how to make an effective timetable, how to keep up the daily consistency. All that I'll make in maybe a week, within a week for sure. 10% of ingested calcium acid, 41% of plasma calcium is bound to plasma proteins and is therefore not filtered to the glomerular cavities. Today I have to film the chemistry video, right? It's very detailed, so that's going to be really helpful, I'm sure. So 41% of plasma calcium is bound to plasma proteins. 41% of plasma calcium is bound to plasma proteins and is therefore not filtered by the oh, that makes so much sense. Oh right, calcium and fatty acids. I read this. Calcium and fatty acids are not fully reabsorbed during ultrafiltration. Why? Because they are partially bound to proteins. So it is not technically a complete ultrafiltration other than proteins. Even calcium and free fatty acids do sometimes remain bound. Okay, after this page, I will eat something. And is therefore not filtered by the glomerular capillaries. The remainder is combined with anions such as phosphate or ionized 50%. The remainder is combined with anions such as phosphate. Mm, calcium goes with phosphate or is ionized and is filtered through the glomeruli into the renal tubules. सो 41% तो बाउंड है, 59% में से 9% is with phosphate and 50% is just normal ionized state that is filtered through the glomeruli. Correct. Normally, the renal tubules reabsorb 99% of filtered calcium, that is about 100 mg per day, are excreted in the urine. Okay. Oh, oh, okay, okay. ठीक है, 99% filtered calcium reabsorb होता है 100 mg per day. 90% of calcium in the glomerular filtrate is reabsorbed in the proximal tubules, loop of Henle and early distal tubules. In the late distal tubules and early collecting ducts, reabsorption of the remaining 10% is more variable depending on the calcium ion concentration in the blood. So DCT and early collecting duct means there can be a difference. Now when the calcium concentration is low, the reabsorption is great. So the calcium concentration is at the reabsorption rate, thus almost no calcium is lost in the urine. Conversely, even a minute increase in blood calcium concentration above normal, minute increase in blood calcium above normal increases the calcium excretion markedly. The most important factor controlling this reabsorption of calcium in the distal portion of nephron, therefore controlling the rate of calcium excretion. So distal portion of nephron's main factor controlling it is PTH, parathyroid hormone. Okay, chal, faster, go faster, faster. Focus, focus, focus. Sites of calcium storage the bone. There are two general types of bony tissue: cortical, that is compact, and trabecular, spongy. Oh yes, I read this in general anatomy. Cortical is compact, and trabecular is spongy. Trabecular or spongy. Trabecular or spongy bone, and cortical or compact bone. Cortical compact and trabecular spongy. Trabecular spongy and cortical is compact. Cortical compact and trabecular spongy. Cortical bone forms the hard outer cortex layer. So cortex, correct. Hard outer cortex layer is much denser than the trabecular bone and accounts for 80% of the total bone mass of the human skeleton. So cortical bone, that is compact bone, is 80%, that is the denser part, and it is 80%, and 20% is trabecular or spongy. Cortical bone is especially thick in the shaft of long bone, such as those in the legs, and support the weight of the entire body. So legs में the cortical bone is very thick. Trabecular bone are much more porous than the porous bone, and usually located at the ends of long bones near the joints or in the anterior vertebrae. So trabecular bones are located in the ends of long bones and near the joints and interior vertebrae. They located at the end of long bones and near joints and the interior of vertebrae. Okay. Yeah, joints in the trabecular bone contains lattice-shaped units with bony spicules. That is called trabeculae. So trabecular bone contains lattice-shaped units with bony spicules. That is called trabeculae. Well, which are lattice-shaped units with bony spicules, with that branch and unite with one another. Okay. Lattice-shaped unit with bony spicule are called trabeculae, which branch and unite with one another, forming an irregular mesh of the spaces between the trabecula filled with red bone marrow, where hematopoiesis takes place. Between trabeculae, you have something called as red bone marrow. Okay, spaces between trabeculae have red bone marrow, where hematopoiesis takes place. So spaces between trabeculae have red bone marrow. Spaces have filled with red bone marrow. The production of hematopoiesis means the production of blood cells occurs. The rate of synthesis and reabsorption, therefore, bone turnover rate are much higher for trabecular bone than for cortical bone. So rate of synthesis, resorption, and bone turnover rate are much higher for trabecular bone than for cortical bone. Okay, so synthesis, resorption, and everything is uh, more for trabeculae. It's more for trabeculae than the cortical bone. More for trabeculae then the cortical bone. Fine. Bone is composed of a tough organic matrix. Bone is composed of a tough organic matrix. Fine. Mm. Bone is composed of a tough organic matrix, and definitely the tough organic matrix is generally strengthened by calcium salts. Tough organic matrix. Average cortical bone contains by weight 30% matrix and 70% salts. Average cortical bone contains by weight 30% matrix and 70%. Approximately 99% of calcium is stored in the bones and teeth. 99% of calcium in the body is stored in the bones and teeth. Newly formed bone may have considerably higher percentage of matrix in relation to salt. Newly formed bone has higher matrix. Newly formed bone has higher percentage of matrix than salts, but the cortical bones usually have 70% salts and 30% matrix. Organic matrix of the bone. The bone is 90 to 95% collagen fibers. 90 to 95% collagen fibers is the organic matrix of the bone. 90 to 95% collagen. Bone everywhere is collagen only. The remainder is homogeneous gelatinous mixture. What is ground substance? Gelatinous medium. Homogeneous gelatinous medium. What is ground substance? Collagen fibers extend primarily along the lines of tensional force and give bone its powerful tensile strength. So the collagen fibers extend along the lines of tensional force and give bone its powerful tensile strength. The collagen fibers extend primarily along the lines of tensional force. The collagen fibers extend primarily along the lines of tensional force and give bone its powerful tensile strength. So they're giving the bone its powerful tensile strength. अरे why am I stuck on this for so long? Go ahead, go ahead. ठीक है. I don't understand something. I really keep reading it like a fool again and again. And then no, not necessary that I'm processing also what I'm reading. I'm just reading it again. ठीक है फाइन. कोलाजन गिव्स टेंसाइल स्ट्रेंथ. बस इतना डिटेल में नहीं करना. Collagen tensile. Go ahead. Ground substance composed of extracellular fluid plus proteoglycans, especially chondroitin sulfate and hyaluronic acid. So you have proteoglycans like chondroitin sulfate and hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid and chondroitin sulfate, that is, which are proteoglycans, and it even consists of extracellular fluid. Extracellular fluid. Composed of extracellular fluid. Too much time on this page. Come on. Proteoglycans help control the deposition of calcium salts. So ground substance में proteoglycans हैं. They help control the deposition of calcium salts and are important in bone repair and injury. They control the deposition of calcium and help in bone repair after injury. Control the level of calcium. So what controls the proteoglycans? That is the ground substance, that is modified mucopolysaccharides, that is gelatinous medium proteoglycans. They control the deposition of calcium salts and are important for bone repair post-injury. Though some of the functions are unclear. Bone salts. The crystalline salts deposited in the organic matrix of the bone are principally of calcium and phosphate. The formula for major crystalline salt known as hydroxyapatite. Yes, fluoroapatite was given in NCERT. CF2 wala. Hydroxyapatite is Ca10PO4 6OH twice. Okay, bone में या hydroxyapatite. हाँ वो appetite family में. Ca10. हाँ it's always PO4 6. हाँ Ca3PO4 twice. हाँ so उसका no इधर उल्टा है. So Ca10PO4 six times and OH twice. Ca Ca10 Ca10PO4 two six times. Fast fast. Ca10PO4 six times, OH two times. Fine. Magnesium, sodium, potassium carbonate are also present in bone salts. Also, X-ray diffraction studies fail to show definite crystals formed by them. Magnesium, sodium, potassium, and carbonate are present in the bone salts. Magnesium, phosphate, but you can't find actual crystals as such. Magnesium, sodium, phosphate, bicarb. The ability of many types of ions to conjugate to bone crystals extends to many ions normally foreign to bone, such as strontium, okay, uranium, plutonium, and other transuranic elements, lead, gold, and other heavy metals. Okay. Ions to conjugate with bone crystals include strontium, uranium, plutonium, transuranic, lead, gold, and heavy metals. Lead, gold. So, what all can conjugate with the with the bone crystals? One is strontium, lead, gold, transuranic elements. Come on. Uranium, plutonium. Bus one more. Heavy metals, correct. This deposition of radioactive substances in the bone can cause prolonged irradiation of the bone tissue. Hmm. And if a sufficient amount of osteogenic sarcoma, bone cancer may eventually develop. Tensile and compressional strength of the bone, the collagen fibers of the bone. Tensile and compressional strength of the bone. The collagen fiber. So this is the tension, the collagen fiber also compressional strength. Tension is great tensile. So collagen is tensile and calcium is compression. So collagen have great tensile strength and calcium have great compressional strength. Collagen is tensile, calcium is compressional. The combined properties plus the degree of bondage between the calcium collagen fibers and crystals provide a bony structure that has both extreme tensile strength and compressional strength. So calcium provides compressional strength and collagen provides tensile strength. Collagen provides tensile strength, calcium provides compressional strength. Hmm. Mechanism of blood calcification. In bone calcification, in the initial stages of bone production is the secretion of collagen molecules called collagen monomers and the ground substance, mainly proteoglycans, by osteoblasts. So osteoblasts will secrete the collagen monomers and the proteoglycan. ठीक है. The collagen monomers polymerize rapidly to form cartilage-like material differing from cartilage. Collagen fibers result in tissue becomes osteoid. Osteoid is a cartilage-like material differing from cartilage in that calcium salt typically precipitate in it. So you get osteoblasts forming these collagen monomers and ground substance. They will polymerize to form collagen fibers, and osteoids are formed. Which osteoids are what? Osteoids are cartilage-like material that is differing from cartilage. Cartilage-like substances differing from cartilage. Okay. They're cartilage-like substances differing from cartilage in a way that in a way that calcium salts are reabsorbed, are present in them, readily precipitate in them. Yeah, too long and fast. As the osteoid is formed, some of the osteoblasts have become entrapped. So osteoid is formed, and the stage are called osteocytes. The periods of osteoid is formed, so the question. Calcium salts within the precipitate on the surface of the collagen fibers. So the precipitate operate intervals along forming minute nida. So they'll first appear at intervals along each collagen fiber. Minute nida. Precipitates one minute nida that rapidly multiply and grow over a period of days and weeks into the finished product, that is hydroxyapatite crystals. So the precipitates first appear along collagen fiber. So precipitate along a collagen fiber and forms minute nidi. Collagen fiber के around it accumulates the precipitates. The precipitates first accumulate around the collagen fiber. Hmm, correct. Uh, Collagen fibers and are transformed into hydroxyapatite crystals. Uh, Come on. Although the mechanism that causes calcium salts to be deposited in osteoids is not fully understood, regulation of this process seems to be dependent on the pyrophosphate, which inhibits hydroxyapatite crystallization and calcification of the bone. Huh? The levels of pyrophosphate in turn are regulated by at least three other substances. One of the most important of these factors is the substance called as tissue non-specific alkaline phosphatase. Tissue non-specific alkaline phosphatase, which breaks down pyrophosphate and keeps its levels in check, so that calcification can occur and as needed. TNP is secreted by osteoblasts into the osteocytes to neutralize into the osteoid to neutralize pyrophosphate. When pyrophosphate has been neutralized, the natural affinity for collagen fibers. mm, TNAP is what? TNAP is tissue non-specific alkaline phosphatase. Oh, TNAP, we just, that day only we did alkaline phosphatase, right? Tissue non-specific alkaline phosphatase. Tissue non-specific. Tissue alkaline phosphatase. Tissue alkaline phosphatase. ठीक है. Now TNAP is secreted by osteoblasts into osteoid to neutralize pyrophosphate. So pyrophosphate is preventing the formation of what? Those hydroxyapatite crystals, right? Mm, inhibits, yeah, calcification. So TNAP will keep it in check and it breaks down pyrophosphate. The natural affinity of collagen fibers for calcium salts causes hydroxyapatite crystallization. My goodness, I took 23 minutes for this page. What? Okay, it was a heavy page, I will not deny it, but I mean, ठीक है, वैसे I was not doing any time pass and I was reading the whole time. See this, it was this page. See how much information is there and how many important points are there on this page. So, ठीक है, it's okay. We took more time, but fine. But I could have done better. Probably at least 15 minutes, not 23 minutes. But ठीक है, चलता है. Okay, I have to keep a watch on us. Okay, I will eat something. Banana is the best thing to eat, guys. It's the most, like, it gives you instant energy. You don't need to do any effort. You can keep it ready the previous night. And of course, it's very nutritious. I'm told to get a bunch of like bananas every day, roj. Morning में 2-3 तो I every day on stream तो I eat usually 3-4 तो आराम से हो जाता. 2-3 तो over time. Yeah, too long. No, no. मुट्ठी मार के इतने पतले हो गया. How to revise? By just reading or writing it down? Both. It's a mix of whatever works. I wrote a lot of things down. Now hydroxyapatite. That's a different. You will see it in P block. I mean, in P block they're given कि various types of appetites exist. I think fluoroapatite, I remembered it was calcium phosphate, which is Ca3PO4 twice. That is the normal formula into 3. So I think it was Ca9PO46.14H2, if I'm not wrong. So that was the formula of fluoroapatite. I think it was into 3. That's something, some logic I remembered. And I think it was 14H2, if I'm not wrong. But for this is hydroxyapatite, which is Ca10PO46OH twice. Okay. So hyptumen, you can just revise how like I revised a lot by writing. I've shown you all my LMRs. They're like huge, huge. I was during NEET my end phase. I was writing full day, right? So you can also write full day, or some people learn better by just revising again. Sometimes I just revised it once you've written the LMR once properly. You just add to it. Then you don't need to keep writing it. Like then after a point you revise it. It's a mix of both, I would say. That revision is based on you, but again it's a mix of both for me. That but it's an individual thing. What works for you, right? It's fine. 1st March. Okay. ठीक. Okay, let's go. Band for dimensions all good. Very good. Oh yes, nice. Our English. Okay, all the best. I'm sure you'll do very well. English में timing is very important. ना मेरे English में I didn't. I think I like under. My speed was very slow initially, and end me I had to like skip writing a few points. So I knew stuff. So English में make sure you write from the start. You write very fast. Don't worry, you'll do very well. English doesn't matter. No one cares. No one will ask you a marks वैसे भी. So don't take any stress. Go आराम से. I'm giving nest. Nice. मैंने सिर्फ नीट का पोर्शन इमेजिन माय नेक्स्ट वाज आई थिंक 1 month or 1.5 month after NEET. So I had no of course I was studying for re-NEET, but not, I mean after NEET you tend to forget things more now, but I just did my NEET core NEET properly, just NCR, nothing else. But I still got all India rank 11 NEET next nest me, and my score, this absolute score wasn't great because the exam is so tough. So that's what I'm saying. When the paper is tough, doesn't mean that your rank will be affected. Ultimately, it's a rank scheme. So I think out of 180, I got 120 in Nest. But the paper is so tough that with 120 on 180, I was all India rank 11 in Nest. So just do your core properly, get the basic amount of questions right, and you'll get a good enough score to get a great rank. Because if it's tough for everyone, right? I knew when I was giving, and when I came out of the paper, I was like, shit, it was really tough. But I'm like, what I solved, I did very well. Yeah, it's amazing. It's above mains and above IT. Yeah, for sure. I want to give IT also. Yeah, I like I did. I messed up by one day. I missed filling the form, and I felt so guilty. I was like, "Arey shit!" I would have, probably like gotten like a decent rank. But ठीक है अभी. That's one thing. And I missed CUET also. I wanted to give. Oh, Like I wish I wanted to give that exam only, but I missed the deadline of the date form filling by one day. Oh, you missed by 110. That's sad. Okay, don't worry. You'll cover up in next or in need. Don't worry. You will manage. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. There's always opportunities. Opportunities will come at every corner. You just have to grab the opportunity that's right for you. Maybe there's a plan that you get a better place. Then nicer. So don't worry. Moving to endocrine system. Mm, next page. Okay. Once pyrophosphate when utilized in natural affinity for collagen fibers for calcium phosphate causes hydroxyapatite crystallization. The importance of TNAP in bone mineralization is illustrated by finding that mice with genetic deficiency of TNAP, which causes pyrophosphate levels to rise too high, are born with soft bones that are not adequately calcified. Okay. Hmm. So TNAP more हुआ तो नहीं TNAP कम हुआ तो पायरोफॉस्फेट मोर हुआ पायरोफॉस्फेट मोर हुआ तो कैल्शियम calcium this will be prevented appetite formation and calcium absorption into the bones appetite formation नहीं होगा अगर नहीं होगा then bones will be soft correct so deficiency of TNAP causes soft bones basic conclusion ठीक है the osteoblast also secretes at least two other substances that regulate bone calcification nucleotide pyrophosphatase phosphodiesterase 1 Osteoblast is secreting two other substances that regulate bone calcification. NPP1, that is nucleotide pyrophosphatase phosphodiesterase. Nucleotide pyrophosphatase phosphodiesterase. Okay. Oh no, Salman. Nucleotide pyrophosphatase dienesterases. Something tough comes up, then I just zone out. Nucleotide, it's okay, fine. You just read it. Don't need to remember everything. Nucleotide pyrophosphate phosphodiesterase 1 and produce pyrophosphate outside the cells. So NPP1 produces pyrophosphate after the cell, which is nucleotide phosphodiesterase. Pyrophosphate. Okay, not that. Pyrophosphatase phosphodiesterase. NPP1. It produces pyrophosphate outside the cells. Ankylosis protein (ANK). Ankylosis protein contributes to the extracellular pool of pyrophosphate. It contributes to the extracellular pool of pyrophosphate, transporting it from the interior to the surface of the cell. Uh, Ankylosis protein (ANK). Ankylosis protein. So nucleotide pyrophosphatase pyrophosphodiesterase 1 (NPP1) causes pyrophosphate to be produced out of the cell, and ankylosis protein, which contributes to extracellular pool of pyrophosphate transporting from the interior to the surface of the cell. So it transports it from the interior to the surface of the cell. इंटीरियर से सरफेस तक लाता है. ठीक है, ठीक है. Extracellular pool ankylosis protein (ANK). Ankylosis protein. Extracellular pool of pyrophosphate by transport from the interior to the surface. Fast. Because by transporting it from the interior to the surface. Okay. Deficiency of NP1 and ANK cause decreased extracellular pyrophosphate. Deficiencies of NPP1. Deficiency of NPP1. Deficiency of NPP1 or ANK causes decreased extracellular pyrophosphate and excessive calcification of bones. Okay. Why am I stuck on this paragraph for like 5 minutes? Deficiency of NPP1 or ANK causes decreased extracellular pyrophosphate and excessive calcification. Right. Such as bone spurs or even calcification of other tissues, such as tendons or ligaments of the spine, which occurs in people with a form of arthritis called ankylosing spondylitis. It's a type of arthritis called ankylosing spondylitis. Ankylosing spondylitis में क्या होता है? उसमें the tendons and ligaments are also getting calcified. Ankylosing spondylitis. Ankylosing spondylitis is a type of arthritis. Today I'm really happy. Like the number has been maintained to 8, 9 throughout the stream. Usually, it drops to 2, then comes back to 4, then 6, 7. Today it's been consistent with 8. Great job. I'm so happy. So many people now you start waking up at 4:30, and we've been able to become consistent now. Our body clocks will eventually align to 4:30. So we will be able to sit for long hours. Make sure we get up in the morning, be productive, and sleep on time. So that fixes our sleep schedule also. Bone calcification. Initial stage involves secretion of collagen monomers and collagen fibers. Muscle become osteocytes. Minute needles that multiply on the hydroxide. Deposition is regulated by pyrophosphate. It inhibits hydroxyapatite crystallization. Pyrophosphate inhibits hydroxyapatite crystallization and bone calcification. It inhibits hydroxyapatite and bone calcification. Calcium salts are regulated by pyrophosphate, which inhibit the hydroxyapatite crystallization. The tissue non-specific alkaline phosphatase (TNAP), a substance secreted by osteoblasts, breaks down pyrophosphate and regulates the bone calcification. The TNAP's deficiency causes soft bones which are not adequately calcified. Osteoblasts secrete substances that regulate bone calcification. Nucleotide pyrophosphate, phosphatase, phosphodiesterase, and ankylosis protein deficiencies cause decreased extracellular pyrophosphate and excessive bone calcification, leading to ankylosing spondylitis. Calcium exchange between bone and ECF. Calcium exchange between the bone and the extracellular fluid. The soluble calcium salts are injected intravenously. The calcium and concentration may increase immediately to high levels. However, within 30 to 60 minutes, calcium ion concentration returns to normal. Likewise, if large quantity of calcium ions are removed from the circulating body fluids, the calcium ion concentration returns to normal within 30 minutes to about 1 hour. These effects result largely from the fact that the bone contains a type of exchangeable calcium that is always in equilibrium with the calcium ions in the exchangeable fluid. So bone we saw has 1 lakh mg of calcium. So it will exchange it with equilibrium with the calcium ions in the ECF. A small portion of the exchangeable calcium is also in the calcium and found in the tissue cells, especially highly permeable types of cells, such as those in liver and gastrointestinal tract. So exchangeable calcium is also present in liver, which is permeable highly permeable like the liver and the gastrointestinal tract. However, most of the exchangeable calcium is in the bone, normally comprising about 0.4% to 1. Exchangeable calcium is in the bone, that is 0.4 to 1% of the total bone. The calcium is deposited in the bone in the form of readily mobilizable salts such as CaHPO4. Okay, and other amorphous calcium salts. They are as CaHPO4, which are readily mobilized. The exchangeable calcium provides a rapid buffering mechanism. It provides a rapid buffering mechanism, right? So this calcium it provides a buffering action. A rapid buffering mechanism to keep the calcium ion concentration in the extracellular fluid from rising to excessive levels or falling to low levels under transient conditions of excessive or decreased availability of calcium. So this exchangeable calcium provides a rapid buffering mechanism. Now, osteoblast and osteoclastic activity of the same bone. Osteoblast, fibrous periosteum. This is osteoclasts. So these are osteoblasts. These are osteoclasts. These are vein. These are bone. Now, deposition and resorption of the bone. That is remodeling of the bone. Come on, son, my fast. Deposition and resorption of bone. That is remodeling of bone. Okay. Deposition of the bone by the osteoblasts. The bone is continually being deposited by the osteoblast and it is continually being resorbed where osteoclasts are active. Okay. So deposited by osteoblast and resorbed by osteoclast. So osteoblast will deposit it and osteoclast will resorb it. Osteoclast will resorb it and osteoblast will deposit it. Okay. Deposit and resorb. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Right. Fine. Very fast, yeah. Osteoblasts are found on the outer surface of the bone in the bone trabecular cavities. A small amount of osteoblastic activity occurs continually in all living bones. About 4% of the surface at any given time in adults, so at least some new bone is being formed constantly. Resorption of bone, that is function of osteoclast. Bone is also continually being resorbed in the presence of osteoclasts, which are large phagocytic multinucleated cells. They are large phagocytic multinucleated cells containing as many as 50 nuclei. Oh, what? 50, that's crazy. So, bone contains osteoclasts, which are large phagocytic multinucleated cells, which are containing as many as 50 nuclei. Consists of 50 nuclei. Large phagocytic multinucleated cells. Large phagocytic multinucleated cells containing as many as 50 nuclei. ठीक है. Osteoclasts are large phagocytic multinucleate 50 nuclei. There are derivatives of monocytes or monocyte-like cells in the bone marrow. ठीक है. The osteoclasts are normally active on less than 1% of the bone surfaces of an adult. So, osteoclasts are normally active on less than 1% of the bone surfaces. And PTH controls the bone resorptive activity of osteoclasts. Histologically, bone absorption occurs immediately adjacent to osteoclasts. The mechanism of this resorption is believed to be the following. Osteoclasts send out villus-like projections towards the bone, forming a ruffled border adjacent to the bone. The villi secrete two substances, proteolytic enzymes released from the lysosomes of osteoclasts, and several acids, including citric acid and lactic acid, released on the mitochondria and secretory vesicles. So, proteolytic enzymes are released from the lysosomes, and the citric acid and lactic acid is from mitochondria and the secretory vesicles. The enzyme digest or dissolve the organic matrix of the bone. The acids cause dissolution of the bone salts. The acids will cause dissolution of the bones. So the enzymes will digest the organic matrix, and the acid will cause the dissolution of the bone salts. The osteoclastic cells also imbibe minute particles of bone matrix and crystals by phagocytosis. Eventually, also dissoluting these particles and releasing these products into the blood. So you're dissoluting the particles, and releasing the products into the blood. PTH stimulates osteoclast activity and bone resorption, but this occurs through an indirect mechanism. The bone resorption osteoclast cells do not have PTH receptors. Instead, the osteoclasts send signal osteoclast precursors to form mature osteoclasts to osteoblast proteins responsible for the signaling. Two osteoblast proteins responsible for the signaling are receptor activator for nuclear factor K kappa B ligand, Rankel. Baapre. Receptor activator for nuclear factor kappa beta B ligand. Kappa beta ligand. So, receptor activator for nuclear factor kappa B ligand and macrophage colony stimulating factor, both of which are necessary for formation of mature osteoclast. So both of them are responsible for formation of mature osteoclast. Mature osteoclast बनाने के लिए mature osteoclast बनाने के लिए you need Rankel, which is receptor activator for the for the nuclear Rankel. Receptor activator for the nuclear factor K, that is kappa B ligand, Rankel. Okay, that is stimulating osteoclastic formation. And the macrophage colony stimulating factor as done by PTH. So PTH is Rankel and colony stimulating factor. Macrophage colony stimulating factor. Macrophage colony stimulating factor. Macrophage का colony stimulating factor. Okay. This page also took too long, 18 minutes. But okay, these pages are pretty heavy duty. Oh god. Let me see this page again. Huge. But still too long, I feel. I can do it within 12-15 minutes. Yes, in a break. वैसे ले सकते, फिल हैव डाउट्स पुट इन द चैट, आई आंसर. कौन से क्लास में हो, 4 या 5? आई मीन फर्स्ट एमबीबीएस. Now moving on to next page, let's go. So bone PTH bind to receptors on the adjacent osteoblasts. So PTH will bind to receptors on the adjacent osteoblast, stimulating synthesis of rankle, which is also called osteoprotegerin ligand, OPGL. OPGL. PTH binds to the receptors on the adjacent osteoblasts. The adjacent osteoblasts. Okay. Okay. Adjacent osteoblasts. Fine. PTH. Okay. I'll finish this page and then I'll probably take a nap or something. Fast, fast. PTH bind to receptors on the adjacent osteoblast, stimulating the synthesis of rankle, which is also called osteoprotein ligand, OPGL. So, a receptor activated nuclear factor kappa B ligand is also called OPGL. OPGL is what? Osteoprotegerin ligand, OPGL, and rankle and OPGL, rankle and OPGL. अंकल एंड ओपिजन. फोन है तुम्हारे पास? So my phone is essentially recording, like, see this. This is my phone camera. Oh, pen mark. So, and iPad say I usually watch like either lectures or some video on YouTube, or I keep it on for like timers and stuff. And like PDFs वगैरह कुछ देखना होगा, annotate करना होगा. And phone, the best part is I'm using the phone for streaming. So I can't use my phone for doing time pass. That's the best part. जो फ़ोन टाइम पास के लिए आई कांट यूज़ नहीं, तो मेरा बेसिकली स्क्रीन का यही जा रहा है. और लैपटॉप इतने आईपैड पे आई यूजली टाइम पास नहीं करता, होता टाइम पास तो फोन पे ही, व्हाट्सएप बेसिकली. वो भी नॉट टाइम पास है सच, टॉकिंग, बट अगर टाइम देन यू गो स्टार्ट रीडिंग चैट्स, फिर ये वो यूजुअली. बाकी आई डोंट गेट डिस्ट्रैक्टेड दैट इजीली. इंस्टाग्राम भी है मेरे पास, बट आई लाइक 90% of the time I usually have it deleted from my phone. I'm not using my नहीं, no reels. Instagram तो नहीं. YouTube only things I search for and I find important I watch, not ऐसे कुछ भी random. Usually नहीं होता मेरे से. हाँ, होता था पहले, but like vacation में, but now probably not so much. Reels तो नहीं. Insta is very, I don't know, not my cup of tea. True. 2 years full neat. Even I didn't have Insta for 2 years. उसके college में I came and down because all the college का fests and all were ठीक है. Then that's why I downloaded Insta. Otherwise I also hadn't downloaded. It's good being off. Like, go all in, whatever you're doing, give your best shot, achieve it, and then do whatever you want. Basically. I can use Insta, but I still avoid. Okay. osteoprotein ligand is called rankel OPGL. And rankel binds to its receptors, that is rank, on the proteoclast cells. So a rankel will bind to rank on the proteoclast cells, causing them to differentiate into mature multinucleated osteoclasts. Oh, so rank is present in pro-osteoclast cells. शाम को स्ट्रीम क्यों नहीं करते? वैसे कर सकता हूँ, आई डोंट माइंड, बट ऐसे आई डोंट वांट लाइक तुम लोग का ही लाइक दो फीड ब्लॉक हो जाए, लाइक सो मेनी वीडियोस, आई डोंट माइंड एक्चुअली, इट्स अ गुड आइडिया, लाइक आई एम ऑलवेज फॉर स्ट्रीमिंग, it helps again, even I'm productive, I hope you guys can also be productive, तो कर सकता हूँ वैसे, बट वो हाँ ठीक है वैसे, I mean I don't know why I don't do it, अभी तक किया नहीं, करूँ क्या? If you all say I can start, चलेगा, I'm okay, it's a stream, और रोज I want to make shorts, okay done, but it I can't give a specific time, like because 4:30 you cannot physically possibly have a commitment at 4:30. There is no event in the world or anything that is, no one is going to get up at 4:30, so no one is going to keep any event or anything at 4:30 in the morning. So that's why I chose this time, because just for the next 4 years, whatever is happening, I can always get up at 4:30, no matter if I have to go an event. Okay, if I've gone out, I'll still wake up at 4:30 and I'll start, and then I'll probably stop it in a bit. But that's why I chose this time as like a fixed time. In the evening, it won't be fixed. Like it'll just be random. I'll just start it. So then you'll probably get a notification then. So chalega. I could do that. But I can't like say ki every day I'll stream from 5 to 9, because I don't know. Some event may come up, some family function. I don't know, whatever. Anything can come up in the evening when, but in the morning, though, it's fixed. That's why I chose 4:30. It's the most ideal time. Do you see blood or yes, yes, of lots. We have to prick ourselves. In physiology practicals, we have to say prick ourselves, and then like we use the blood, then we suck the blood out through a pipette, and then we use it for like hemoglobin estimation. And we take the blood, smear it, and see our own cells under the microscope. It's very cool actually, but you have to. It took me a while to learn to prick myself, or be not learn to have the courage to properly, as to make someone else prick. But yeah, a lot of blood. Not lot, but I say you have to prick yourself. You'll get, don't worry, Aditya, you'll get. I'm sure you'll get. You seem very focused. If you really wanted go all in, no one can stop you from getting it. Okay, sure. Mm, we'll take a break at 7:15. Always here for you all. I'm your mentor also. Don't forget, I'm not just here to come online and study. I'm always here as your mentor. I'm always there if you need to ask any doubts as well. I'm your guide. And and of course, you're also guiding me. I need some place to study as well, right? So let's keep helping each other. No, sure. We'll meet at 7:15. Then we'll talk. Till then, now I won't talk for 1 hour. We can finish. I want to finish calcium homeostasis today, which is quite a few more pages, but I will definitely try my best. Oh, I'm on mute. Okay, okay. uh, Rapid phase of calcium and phosphate mobilization. Okay, I won't put it off. Fine. It's better for me also actually. Then I also stay more focused. So great. I'll keep it on. And how did you? Okay, fine. Uh, Good job, MS. How do you deal with people who distracted you during class or during after class studies, especially if they're persistent? Like you don't have to talk for long. Just talk what is relevant and move on with it. And in class, keep your uh, friends more of study academically oriented, I would say. Mm. And also try to keep your class friends more for group study only. Like don't you can go out and all, but if you keep going out, then every time you meet you'll want to feel do like you won't may not end up studying every time you're together. So keep your main activity when you're together studying. You can always have your school friends, or if you want to go out ever, that's avoid too much going out with coaching friends, because then that you get more habituated to chilling when you're with them. But their main focus should be study, because you're in the coaching for studying basically. When large quantities of pediatrics are injected, calcium ion concentration from the blood. So when the large quantities of PTH are injected, the calcium ion concentration begins to rise within minutes, showing that PTH causes removal of bone salts from two areas in the bone, from the bone matrix in the vicinity of osteocytes, from the bone matrix in the vicinity of osteocytes lying within the bone itself. So from the bone matrix within the vicinity of the osteocyte. So it causes release from the bone matrix. Uh, Okay, up. Release on the bone matrix in the vicinity of osteocytes lying within the bone itself and in the vicinity of osteoblasts along the bone surface. ठीक है. So osteoblast along the bone surface के vicinity में and the bone matrix in the vicinity of osteocytes. ठीक है. Osteoblasts and osteocytes form a system of interconnected cells that spread all through the bone and over all the bone except the mall surface areas adjacent to osteoclasts. In fact, long filmy processes extend from the osteocyte to osteocyte throughout the bone structure and also connect with the surface osteocytes and osteoblasts. This external system is called the osteolytic membrane system and is believed to provide a membrane that separates the bone itself from the extracellular fluid. So there are filmy processes that connect osteocyte to osteocyte and connect with each the surface. ठीक है. It is believed to provide a membrane that separates the bone from the extracellular fluid. Between the osteocytic membrane and the bone is a small amount of bone fluid. Between the osteolytic membrane and the bone is a small amount of bone fluid. Between osteocytic membrane and the bone. Fine. Between the osteocytic membrane and the bone. Uh, Between the osteocytic membrane and the bone is a small amount of bone fluid. Mm, Between the osteocytic membrane and the bone is a small amount of bone fluid. Experiments suggest that osteocytic membrane pumps calcium ions from the bone fluid into the ECF. Okay. The osteocytic membrane itself is pumping the calcium ions from the bone fluid into the ECF, creating a calcium ion concentration in the bone fluid only one third that in the ECF. When the osteocytic pump becomes excessively activated, so osteocytic pump is becoming excessively activated, the bone fluid calcium concentration falls even lower and the calcium phosphate salts are then released from the bone. Okay, so it is increasing it in the ECF, and the fluid concentration falls even lower. the calcium phosphate salts are then released from the bone. So calcium phosphate will be released from the bone. Okay. Calcium phosphate is released from the bones. Hmm. Okay. Right. Hmm. Hmm. The calcium phosphate and then reduce. Okay, fine. This effect is called osteolysis and occurs when the resorption of the bone's fibrous and gel matrix. So, uh, the effect is called osteolysis and occurs without resorption of the bone's fibrous and gel matrix. When the pump is activated, the bone fluid calcium concentration rises to a higher level, and calcium phosphate salts are redeposited in the matrix. So, the effect is caused by osteolysis. When the pump is activated, the bone fluid calcium again increases. The bone fluid calcium again increases to a higher level, and the calcium phosphate salts are redeposited in the matrix. Calcium phosphate salts are redeposited in the matrix. Okay. Calcium phosphate salts are redeposited in the matrix. When does the pH fit into the picture? Where does PTH fit in? Let's see. Oh, also, yes, I won yesterday best speaker. I mean, the competition was done a while back. I mean, yesterday they get the trophy for it. You can see. Just not. I don't usually do that much extracurriculars, but this was during Freshers Week, so that time I had done thoda thoda. I had taken part in everything actually in Freshers, but now I've reduced. I've only taken part in main things now. Um, this effect is called osteolysis. Osteolysis, and where is the PTH mediated process of bone resorption. Fine. Resorption. Hmm. Thank you, Rajnandini. This right called osteolysis occurs without the bone's fibrous and gel matrix. It occurs without the bone's fibrous and gel matrix. And okay. Actually, I think I should stop now because my nani is there and we want to do like she wants to do something religious together, like a puja or something. So we're just going to the temple part of the house. We'll, I think I'll stop for the day. I'll have to have a bath and get ready also, and we'll probably do a puja and Abhishek will be karna. So I was thinking to do till like 7:30, but today we'll stop early. Usually I'll try 4:30 to 7:30. I'll try to keep it 3 hours because then we can all be more productive. But at least minimum 2 hours. So mostly Roj I will try 4:30 to 6:30, and every day I will schedule the previous day. So bye everyone. See you tomorrow.